What's up, Stripe Nation? Blake Alberts here with B&B Lawn Care. I have Jefferson here from Cub Cadet, and this is like what do they call it? Sentimental, because Cub Cadet was my very first lawnmower to start my business, riding around my parents' neighborhood. Like this is it, man. This is what I was on. Not this bad boy, but a little residential one from, I think, like Lowe's or something, somewhere around here. Anyways, you brought me the Pro Z 900. Tell us a little bit about it. I have some features that I want to talk about already, just walking through it, that I think are awesome, but give us a quick little rundown.
Yeah, for sure. Like I was kind of mentioning to you, Cub Cadet's been known as one of the just dominators in the residential market, and they're really putting a push just to get that name recognition out there, that we've got something that we truly stand behind in the commercial and professional and industrial application as well. Kind of went back to the drawing board not too long ago and came out with the Pro lineup. It comes in basically the 5, 7, and 900. The 900's the big bad dude, and this is one of them right here. This is the 960. From front to back, what they like to say is perception is reality with this machine. You walk up and you see just beefy, hulky, and it really is. It's not a lot of fluff. It's got the cojones to back it up, if you will. I mean, it's a tough machine. Basically, you've got 1/2-inch steel 2x2 to make that pivoting front axle. You've got elastomeric, basically suspension in the front end. So this is going to be a comfortable ride, but not only is it going to have comfort, but if you swing this thing out over a curb, you're not dropping the wheel down and losing your balance and stuff. It's going to hold all that steady. You've got 1/2-inch front axles there. I mean, we know this thing whenever it gets out in the field. This end right here might actually be used as a bulldozer a little bit. It might push the trash cans and the picnic tables and stuff out of the way while you're mowing. We took all that into account whenever we built this machine. Same with the back end. You can see the engine guard. You know, everything about this thing, 3/8-inch steel frame and engine guard. I mean, it's tougher than anything you're going to find on the market. We know people are going to be hooking stuff up to the back of this and moving it around, or the reverse dump truck pushing things out of the way in the back. Or if you got the guy that isn't paying attention and he smacks a mailbox or a tree or something, we don't want any of that more or less collateral damage just from a pro guy doing his job.
Right.
And so not only do we build it strong, but we stand behind it strong. It's got a 3-year unlimited hour warranty. Where most of your competition, they're going to cap you off something. Ours is unlimited hour. We know this thing's going to get out there, be used and abused. That's what it's meant to do. Basically, deck down where it's making you money, cutting the grass. That's a 5-year, 1,750 hour warranty. That's your deck warranty, your spindles, and everything.
Wow.
So where it's actually doing the work, we made the warranty even better and longer than what's already an amazing warranty.
What can you talk about the engine, like the miles per hour? I know these guys love that kind of stuff.
For sure. Basically,
I'm not good at it.
We run all Kawasaki FX engines. They're just top of the line. When it comes to the commercial stuff, everybody knows the name, trusts the name. Doesn't really have any reason to doubt it. This thing is a 35 horsepower, so it's 999 cc's of pure muscle. And what that's going to be pushing are the Parker integrated drive systems. It's the 16cc HTG pumps. Basically, it's dynamite in a small package. 1,000 hour service intervals on those transmissions. It's going to push this thing it's a 14 mile an hour machine. So it's gonna get you there and get you done.
Yeah.
Make your money and get home to have dinner with the wife and kids.
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
It'll boogie. It'll boogie. And not only is it fast, but it's comfortable. Yeah. You know, what's the point of going fast if you got back problems or neck problems when you're halfway done with the job? So you kind of sat on it earlier, and you witnessed a little bit of the insanity on this thing. It's got a full air ride seat. So I mean, you've got a full air ride seat, 4-post. Exactly.
It's pretty sweet.
We've got an isometric platform underneath it, so you're not only going to get the up and down that's fully adjustable, but as you can feel, it's got some side to side, front to back as well.
Right.
So I mean, it's definitely built for the long day. Basically, your dawn to dusk mowing. It's got fully adjustable cushioned
these are pretty
armrests.
like
You can adjust them as high as you want them, as low as you want them. You've got adjustable lumbar in the seat itself. You've got recline on the seat itself. I mean, what we do with the Pro lineup is different than anybody else out there. A lot of mower companies, they think, you know, well, we know mowers, so here's what we're coming out with because this is what they want. We do it completely different. Before pen ever meets paper or a concept ever goes into you know, a CAD drawing or anything like that, we go out and talk to you. We talk to the guy that's on these things, and we want to hear what they love about XYZ brand and what they hate about XYZ brand. And we do that for months and months and into the years, actually, before we ever make something and just say, well, what do you think about this? Or even skip that step and say, you know, well, here's what we have to offer. We don't skip any of those steps. We listen to what the guys want. We put it into, you know, basically into a prototype and give it to them and say, is this kind of what you're saying? And they tweak it all the way down to what we think might be goofy little stuff, or some of the viewers might think is goofy little stuff. The cup holders were a big gripe about a lot of the competition.
I've never understood that, but I know a lot of people care about it.
And we listen. So we made a fully adjustable cup holder. So I mean, this thing
that's awesome.
adjusts all the way up to fit pretty much any size cup, all the way up to the Yetis. I mean, even if you had a deep well, or I should say insulated.
I feel
mugs.
like we could I see like a funny video of like a guy going over a bumpy lawn and his drink just like flying all over the place.
Exactly.
That's what I think of, but
it'll be the neighbor that their drinks flying everywhere. This one right here, you'll be done and sitting back sipping and relaxing whenever he's still out there jarring his back.
That's funny.
Because this thing will be comfortable, ride comfortable, and get you done quick.
Sweet. I want to show a few things that I thought were cool that I have just found through this. So, one, what'd you say what's the special terminology here?
Basically, you've got a transmission bypass.
Okay.
Is what that ends up being, and it's all locked in with the parking brake itself.
So basically, if I get stuck, which happened today, I don't want to run over you.
No, you're good.
But basically, I release the parking brake, and then now I can move it.
As soon as you flip this switch up,
okay,
it's completely released. So instead of having to dig down under a muddy mower, that if you've been mowing more than 30 seconds, your exhaust is scalding hot. So getting covered in mud and frying part of your arm,
right?
Just to get those transmissions unlocked under there to pull it out of the mud, or even if you just wanted to push it across the garage, get it out of the way if your wife's griping because you blocked her parking spot in the garage again, you don't have to actually start this thing up and get the garage smelling like exhaust.
Right.
Or like I said, reach underneath it and unlock all that. Simply release the parking brake and then bypass the transmissions, and it's ready to just push, basically just fingertip.
Yeah,
it's done. You set the parking brake back and it's all locked back in. So it's definitely cool. And like I was telling you, whenever you go to start the machine, as you can see, it automatically defaults that to the transmission bypass setting. So none of your battery juice and your cranking is going to pressurizing those transmissions. Every bit of that crank, whenever you turn the key, is going to starting that engine.
So if your battery's a little bit depleted, then...
Which is almost guaranteed to happen when it's cold outside.
Right.
Your battery's not going to be as strong whenever it's cold. So those cold morning crank ups, you're not sitting there just going to town on the choke and the this, that, and the other, or having to jump it or wait until it, warms up a little bit. It pops that engine off, lets everything warm up a little bit, and then you can engage the transmissions and basically works it in as soon as you release the parking brake.
Sweet.
All that's every little bit of this is tied in together. I'll show you another feature on this side as well. Most of your competition, and a voice that we heard whenever we were asking the pro guys, the choke's on the same side as your ignition switch on most models. So you're automatically turned over, reaching over, pulling on choke and milking stuff back and forth and trying to get everything dialed in right. We've got the choke right whenever your arm falls down. You don't even have to look for it.
That makes
it's
sense.
sitting on the left side, keys on the right side, and you're not having to even think about anything or move. It's all right there, and then your hands are down. So as soon as you come off the choke and off the key, they're pulling the levers up.
Yeah.
Same thing with the adjustment on the levers. You don't have to have any tools to move these things around. So if you need them dialed in a specific way for you, and then he jumps on and he likes his a little further out or closer in, or he's shorter or taller, just adjust them right there.
Wow.
No tools needed.
Yeah, I never even thought about that on the choke.
Most people don't.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, because
Me
now it
neither.
makes sense.
That's above my pay grade. I just sell them. Luckily, I didn't have to engineer them or anything.
Yeah, and then I know this, like, you guys gotta understand, I'm running standards, so like some of these features may be on other mowers and it might not be a big deal, but it is to me. Dual gas tanks, like, are huge, because I am the most guilty of running out of gas mid-lawn. I'm not saying it won't happen with this, but I'm just bad at that, because, you know, you're going out throughout the day, you just need a lot of gas. I mean, they just run a lot of gas. So I think you were saying like a little bit over 7 gallons in each tank.
You're pushing 15 gallons of fuel whenever you're rolling around. So I mean, even if the competition has dual tanks, because some do, chances are it's not going to be dual tanks and 15-gallon capacity.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
So I mean, what we're trying to do is make it comfortable where you can be on this thing all day long, and less excuses for you to have to get off of it. Whether it's unlocking transmissions, refueling, downtime for this, downtime for that, giving your back a break, whatever it might be, needing to hold a bigger cup so you can stay hydrated longer. I mean, we've tried to think of it all. But the meat and potatoes of everything is the foundation of it. We tried to just make it tougher.
Yeah.
That's really what it boiled down to.
These tires are huge.
Yeah, the tires are huge. Which is going to mean, just more comfortable ride, more rubber.
Like they're
more
like
air.
massive.
They're massive. You've
Like,
got
look
run
at these
flats on
things.
the front, so less downtime because you got standard run flats on the front. The 700 and 900 models come standard with a striping roller kit on the back of the deck, adjustable height striping roller kit. So I mean, you're going to get those beautiful stripes without having to go and buy extra kits and do a whole bunch of extra work.
We'll test that.
It's ready to rock and roll.
We'll test that. Is this a Stripe Nation one? Or a one stripe at a time? Oh, dang. We're gonna test it, don't even worry. Okay, so we showed you guys the seat thing. I think that's awesome. One other thing, if you wanna come around here, and if you wanna show up Jefferson, this like so small, but lift up this flap.
So the annoying flaps that spring down and catch everything?
Yes, and it stays up. It's so small, it's actually less work than putting a spring there. But it's not, like, you don't have to have anything to hold it up. So it's actually, I think that's huge, because I don't run a flap down. I don't know why. I just never have. I feel like you have more grass dispersion. Ooh, that's a big word. Whenever the flap is up, because it kind of just flies everywhere instead of being knocked onto the ground when the flap is down. But yeah, man, this is a big guy. I'm excited to go out and mow with this.
It's a beast.
It's a 60-inch deck, which I don't run a lot, so I'm kind of excited to see how much more productive. But I just saw you bringing it from that trailer down the street, and it's fast.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm excited. And the seat's super comfortable. These are super comfortable. And no, I'm just excited to do it.
So most industry standard, of like a bragging right on the deck, is going to be 7-gauge steel. So we tripled that. Instead of just going with like, oh yeah, that's tough, we said, well, we could double tough, or we could just triple it and kind of go insane. So we have non-serviceable or service-free spindles on this thing. So basically, where we were finding the failures, we eliminated. and went with a double
So you don't
row.
have to grease them?
No greasing
Okay.
needed. There's no grease zerks on this thing. So this is
That's pretty big.
This is just about a service-free mower, if there is such a thing. This is as close as you can get to.
So what gauge is the deck?
So 7-gauge steel is the deck.
Okay.
Where the spindles actually mount to the deck, we add another 7-gauge ring to the top.
Okay.
So just to beef it up even more.
And you can
And
step
then
on
we
this
throw
deck?
another 7-gauge ring on the bottom. So
No
you've got
worries.
where the spindles actually match up. So if you're rolling and you smoke a tree stump or whatever it might be, a curb, most of your competition, you're going to end up, if you do that enough, you're going to have some flex in the deck. You're not going to. I mean, that's over a 1/2 inch of steel. You can feel the front where most people, a little loud, where most people put like a rub rail or something on the front. We add an even beefier 5/16 rub rail, but we bend it. So instead of just welding one on the front, feel how thick that thing is on the front of that deck.
Oh, wow.
So whenever you put that 90 in the metal, I mean, it just multiplies the strength of that just drastically.
Yeah.
So when you're rolling and you're hitting the rocks and you're hitting all that stuff for years, you don't have to ever worry about messing up the deck. All the way down to, like you were mentioning, this deck's meant to be stood on. These are your steps to get on and off the machine.
Huh.
Your pulley covers right there.
Yeah.
The pulley cover mounts and the deck hangers, we could do the industry standard and just put a bolt through the deck and have a floating deck or something, or make a little rail to put it on. Well, we added gussets. So I mean, all this right here is just more steel to beef this thing up structurally. So I mean, over the years, you're not gonna have any flex.
Yeah.
On the side over here where you're rubbing all day, every day, we added a replaceable, basically rub rail. So you wear this thing out after a couple of years, you buy a new one, slap it on there, and you're not having to patch a hole in the side of your deck.
Right.
Which wouldn't happen on this because that's 5/16 steel that we actually bring up above the deck instead of just making it a 90 and welding where it's going to eventually have holes and blow out. We bring it up past it, not only for just structural and rigidity purposes, but to just show that's how thick we're building everything. Nobody's doing anything this beefy.
Dang. That's sweet.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that.
nobody is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the deal. We want people to go by and say, you know, oh, yellow mower, what is it? And have the beefiness just stick out to them, and then the last thing they kind of say is like, that's a Cub Cadet.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to just prove that we're in this. We mean business.
Yeah. That's a beefy mower. I'm actually like surprised. Like I didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't even like research picture or anything because I wanted to
Sweet.
be, you know, like see in person and know what I'm getting. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you're excited.
No, it's sweet.
We tried to think of everything. I mean, when you're lowering the ROP system, you know, people griped about the pins, and whenever you pull the pins, either it's too tough, or the pins are connected by a string or a cable and they lose them, or they rattle out, or they rattle, period. We made it all where it's, I mean, that simple right there. You're basically just offsetting these little keys. There's nothing to pull, no tension to free up or anything, and it all locks into place. You've got a couple of options on where you can set it.
Why would somebody want it in that position? Just curious. Oh, if you're trying to get.
Yep.
Okay.
Running
Under something.
Running. If you're loading it on a trailer or running
Okay.
under trees, there's just different options.
Right.
And then all the way up.
Sweet. Thank you, Jefferson.
Heck yeah, buddy.
Sweet, man. So we'll be trying this out. We actually have a huge property. You guys have seen it a million times that we do on Fridays. So we're gonna bring the camera out. We're gonna bring this beast out and see what she can do. So make sure you guys like, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.